Hello and welcome to everybody on Cloud Fitness. So in today's video, we are going to talk about Medallion architecture and change data feed in Databricks. Although Medallion architecture and change data feed are different topics, but they can be very easily clubbed together, and we will see a demo how we can use Medallion architecture as well as change data feed hand in hand. So in this particular video, we will first discuss what exactly Medallion architecture is, and then we will discuss what exactly change data feed is, what it is used for, and then we will move on to the hands-on session. And in case you have not yet subscribed to my channel, do remember to subscribe to my channel and hit the like icon on this video. So let's move on and see exactly what exactly a Medallion architecture is, what does it looks like. So this word Medallion might sound a little new, but eventually it is, a very similar, concept that, we have been following in since ages, I would say. So Medallion architecture is nothing but, we have kind of given a new name to the same thing. So essentially, whenever we have data coming in from multiple sources, right, multiple different sources, what we try to do, we try to keep the data into a single layer, right? We just keep the raw data as is in the single layer. Now that single layer in Medallion architecture is nothing but the bronze layer. That is nothing but your bronze layer. You do not do any manipulation over here. This bronze layer can be used as a cool tier, right? It can be used as a cool tier for your future use cases because this holds all of your data, right? And now from this bronze layer, we take in the data, we filter out only the required set of data, we clean the data, we want to trim the data, or you want to, give proper schemas, we want to give proper column names to our data, then we do it and we, get the data into second layer, which is nothing but the silver layer, right? And then from the silver layer, whenever we have any business aggregates which is required, so let's say I can say, okay, this is product sales related data, and similarly this is customer related data. So whenever we want to draw business level aggregates on the data for, let's say, reporting purpose or any of this downstream applications, then in that case we have this gold layer. So silver layer can actually be used by your data science team because this is a very cleaned form of data which can be used for the further analysis. And the gold layer is nothing but an aggregated form of data. So from silver to gold, basically when you have to apply complex ETL logics, complex transformation, complex business transformation, whenever you apply those transformation on silver layer, you come into the gold layer. So this is nothing but Medallion architecture is nothing but it is a very, very, very good way to logically organize your data in the lakehouse, right? You kind of organize it really well. All the raw data you put in the bronze layer, then you move the cleaned form of data into the silver layer, and then you further aggregate and apply complex business logics to form the gold layer. Now this is nothing but it is also called as multi-hop architecture or Medallion architecture. So this is what I wanted to give you a brief about Medallion architecture as of now in this video. Before moving on to any type of demo, you should be aware of this. Now coming on to the change data feed, right? What exactly your change data feed is and why are we even talking about it right now? Correct. So change data feed is essentially a feature that works only on delta tables as of now. So this in fact I have made a lot of videos on delta tables, and if you have seen those videos, you already know that in delta table you have something called as transaction log, right, where all the changes are captured. Now similarly, when change data feed is enabled on the delta table, in the transaction log there is a folder named as changed feed which captures the row level changes of the table. So when I say row level changes of the table, I mean that I have a table employee and the location, right? I have employee table where we know I'm capturing the location of an employee. So employee A has a location, let's say India right now. Now that is the data that I have, but let's say 2 days after, I have the same employee A, he has changed the location to, let's say, United States, right? Now this is a row level change, that the same employee has updated his location. So this kind of detail, right, that which row is inserted, which row is updated, which row is deleted, that is actually captured by your change data feed, right? This is nothing but change data feed. It captures your row level changes, right? And it tells you whether the row that is coming in, the new row that is coming in as compared to the previous row, whether it is an insert, it's an update, or it's a delete, right? So this really helps you to capture row level changes. Now we also need to understand that this change data feed is not enabled by default. It is not a feature which is already present and you go ahead and use that. So essentially this you have to enable it manually on any table. So it is essentially done on the table properties, right? Whenever you have to create a table, in that case you can mention while creating a table that this is the table property delta.enable change data feed true. Or even if you have an existing table, even in that case you can enable change data feed. Similarly, if you want to make sure that any table that you create in future, all the tables should have change data feed enabled, then in that case the third statement comes into picture, where set spark.databricks.delta.properties.defaults.enable change data feed is equal to true. So these are the three ways in which you can actually go ahead and enable change data feed on your table. Now we will just go through what are the different use cases of change data feed, and after that we will move on to our demo session. So use cases. So already I talked about silver, gold, bronze tables, right? Already we talked about Medallion architecture. So whenever you are working with this Medallion architecture, right, you are actually doing what? You are trying to process the records, right? So you have a file coming in, you might have incremental records daily. So in this case you would want to enable change data feed. Why would you want to enable change data feed? Is because you will only capture using change data feed. It will become easier for you to identify which record is an update, insert, or delete, and using that you can actually go ahead and process only the changed record rather than processing all the records, right? So this essentially enhances your performance. So this is one of the use case of your change data feed. Similarly, in case of materialized view, right, whenever you want to have aggregated views for your business intelligence, right, and you do not want to reprocess underlying tables, then in that case again you can go for the change data feed. Similarly, you want to only transmit the changes. You just want to, let's say, from one table to another, from one layer to another, you just want to transmit, let's say, only inserts or only updates, right? In that case it becomes really easier to use change data feed. Similarly, I already told, right, that change data feed captures the details, right, what have been changed, right, in the change feed folder. So those are so that can be used as an audit table, because in the later on you can actually see that how many records have changed, how many inserts have come in a month, and all those details you can actually go ahead and check as well. So these are the few use cases of your Medallion architecture and the change data feed. So let me just go through a sample data set and see how we can combine, how we can use Medallion architecture and change data feed. Now in this, basically we will I am using a financial data, sample financial data, which has the details of estimated earnings per share, right? This is nothing but a financial data. So essentially here what we are going to do is, I am going to use Medallion architecture, and to use that I will be creating bronze, silver, and the gold tables. So right now if you see, I have this create statement for the three tables. Right now this create statement has table properties delta.enable change data feed equal to true. Right now, just because it has this property, right, now change data feed will actually be enabled on top of this particular table. Right now let me just run it and create these tables. So now let me just run it. So these 3 delta tables will be created. These will be empty as of now. And also let me just go on the right hand side of the data. In fact, let me just open another instance. I think that will be much more easier to me. Now if you see in the data tab, you will have these tables created. Let me just go here. So if you see this default over here, you have this bronze EPS 01, right? Then you have this gold consensus EPS 01, and similarly you have the silver EPS 01. So you have these tables already created now after I ran the statement, which has changed data feed enabled equal to true. Now what we are going to do over here is I am going to create a data frame which has a sample data set already, and then from this data frame we are going to create a view. Now using this view, I will add the data into the bronze table. Basically here what I am trying to do, I am just trying to add the data into the okay, now if you can see over here, I have a data frame. From this data frame I have created what I have done, I have simply created a view. Right now using this view, I am going to insert the data into my bronze table. So the moment I run it, right now you can see I have inserted the data into the bronze table. It says number of affected rows equal to 6, number of inserted rows equal to 6. So my bronze table now has data, right? So now let me just query my bronze table. Let me just run this particular statement. Now how I am actually querying, using table changes. So remember that this table changes is nothing but it is an inbuilt function which is used, just to get the changes for a particular version of a delta table. So this version bronze EPS, right? This is the bronze table that I have. So from commit version 1, just get me the table changes. So if you can see over here, this is commit version 1, and I am just you can see that 6 rows were affected, 6 rows were inserted. So it says, we have all those 6 rows over here. But remember, there is a very minute change, that there is something called as change type, right? Now what is this change type? There is something called as commit version, there is something called as commit timestamp, right? So what exactly is this? So because if you see, I have just added 4 columns, right? Till earnings per share, I have only added 4 columns. My bronze EPS table also had 4 columns only, right? If I go at the top, you can actually see that my bronze EPS table has date, stock symbol, analyst, and estimated earning per share. Now where did these three columns come from, right? Now these 3 columns actually have come from change data feed. So this will always be added by your change data feed. Now your change data feed, since it is capturing the commit version, since it is capturing the commit timestamp, it is also capturing your change type, right? Just because of your enabling of your change data feed, you got these 3 columns. Now similarly in the silver EPS, I want to add few columns, right? I want to add few rows. Right now I am saying insert into EPS. I am taking the data from my bronze EPS, right? Where commit version is equal to 1. I am actually taking in that data and I am inserting into the silver table. Now this is just a direct insert, and now if I want to read the data from silver EPS, I am just doing a simple select star, and then you can actually see that in the silver EPS table, I have again this data and the change type, commit version, and commit timestamp. Now I also want to add the data into the gold table, right? Now how do I do that? Now to add the data into the gold table, I am going to do an aggregate operation. I am going to use the data from the silver EPS table, right? I am going to use the data from silver EPS table, and I am going to get the average estimated earning per share, and I am going to insert it into the gold table. So if you see it over here, right, this is gold table, and if I go at the top where I have defined the gold table, what are the columns that we have defined? Date, stock symbol, and consensus EPS, right? These are the three columns that we have defined. So in the similar way, I am inserting into this goal table the three columns, which is date, stock symbol, and consensus EPS, which is nothing but the average estimated earning per share, right? And this I am getting from, the silver EPS table, right? Silver EPS table I'm getting it from, and I'm just doing the average and adding it into the your gold table. Let me just do a little bit of change here. It's just the column name thing. Let me just run the cell again. So now essentially that column name was little wrong, so that's why I just removed that column name. So if you see it over here, now I have inserted, right, the data into the gold, right? How I have inserted, I have used silver table, right? I have joined it on the silver table. Now this is my silver table, right? I have said that join it on silver table, the group by is on stock symbol and the group by is on date, right? Now using this group by, get me the average estimated earning per share, right? So using this, right, using group by on stock symbol, using group by on date, using group by on analyst, right, using group by on these three columns, I have taken the average estimated earnings per share, right, for commit version of 1. Now when I do this, I will always get 3 rows only, right? Because if you see analyst B2, right, so you can actually see I will always get 3 rows out of it, right? So in fact the group by is actually on date and the stock symbol, not on analyst. So remember that part, that group by is only on date and symbol. So when I do group by on date and stock symbol, I will always have, for example, for these first 2 rows I will always get 1 row. For these 2 rows I will always get 1 row. So for this 2 row, CC, stock symbol CNC, I will always get 1 row, and I will do estimated earning per share, right, and commit version 1. So I will always get 3 rows, and those 3 rows got added. Now if I do select star on the goal table, let us see what output do I get. So you can actually see that I got the following output. So this is basically how you can have your gold, silver, and the bronze tables. And this is how you can query them as well when the change data feed is enabled. And also I want to show you one more thing, right? So let's say I have another data set, right? I am creating another data frame, right? And I am again creating one view out of it. Now using that particular view, again I am going to add the data to the bronze layer. So if you see at the at this place here, right, so here as well I did the same thing. I added a data set in the bronze layer. Now I am again going to do that in this command as well. Again I am going to add some data set to my bronze layer, right? Let me just run this. Now this got run. Now from this view that got created, I am again going to add the data into the table, right? Now the table got added by the rows. So I have total of 7 rows. Now let me just run this. Now again I am trying to do a select star on the bronze table. Now you remember how things are actually happening over here, alright? Now essentially I am trying to get the changes, right? I am trying to get the changes, and I got these changes from commit version 2. Now if I go a little down over here, and I try to merge. Now what I am trying to merge in the silver layer, I am trying to have, right, in the silver layer I am just trying to use merge operation to get, right, only the updates and insert, right? Merge into silver layer, right, using select changes from this bronze layer, right? I am having join conditions over here. Whenever there is a match, just update earning per share, and if there is not any match, then just insert. So now basically I am trying to use a merge statement over here to merge the data into the silver layer, right? If the row is already present in the silver layer, just go and update it. If the row is not present in the silver layer, just insert it. Now using this, you will actually see what does it says, right? Number of rows affected is 7, number of rows updated is 1, deleted is 0 and inserted is 6, right? Now you can actually see what has happened. Now let me go at the top first to make you understand it even better. So this is the, let me just copy this data frames, right? This is the first data frame, right, that I added. Like this is the first data set that my table already had, and this is the second data set that we added. Now let me just paste it and let us compare it. Okay, so if you see this particular row, right, where date is this and the stock symbol is A, right? So this was already present, correct? Now if you see, there was one row which was already present, rest all the other rows are actually in inserts, right? Rest all the rows are insert, only the first row is an update, right? So that, now when we do merge, right, when we did merge from, let me come little down here, when I did merge into the silver layer from the bronze layer, and I said that whenever a row matches, then update the earning per share, and when it does not match, just do an insert, right? Then what happened? So there was only one row for the update and other 6 rows got inserted, which the statistics which it is showing here are actually correct, right? Now let me see how it has actually worked. Let me just run this particular table and see. Now this is how it actually works. So now you can see when I'm trying to say select star from the silver table, now what does the silver table has? It has one row as an update, rest rows as an insert. Now how does it behave, right? All the other rows are inserts, if you can see over here, right? All the rows are actually inserts. These are all inserts. But what about the update one, right? So the stock symbol A was an update. I showed you that as well, right? Was an update. And in the change type, right, it mentions, in the change type it mentions update pre-image and update post-image. Now what is this update pre-image? Pre-image is nothing but what was the row before merging, right? So before merging this was the existing row, and after merging this is the latest record. Update post image is the latest record, right? So if I go a little up to the data set, right, so if you can see A2 and 2.4, right, 2 and 2.4 was the latest one that we added, right? Now you can see it says 2.4, like this particular row is an update post image, pre-image and post image. This is how your change data feed actually captures, right? It has 1, 2 and 3 rows where it actually tells you which was the updated rows, which is the update pre-image, what is the update post image, right? And what is the timestamp also it will show over here. So this is how it actually works, right? And even, you know, if you want to do any kind of select operation on your silver table, you can actually go ahead and do that. So for example, you want to select distinct date and stock symbol from the the silver table, you can actually go ahead and do any kind of aggregate operations on top of it. Now we have done merging into the silver layer. Now if I want to do merge into the gold layer, right, this is a statement which is written to merge into the gold table. So merge into this gold table, right? Now this is the whole query to do so, right? We have now how I am doing the merge, right? So in the silver table I did merge using the bronze table, right? Now in the gold table I am trying to do merge based on the silver table, right? I am trying to again do average estimated earning per share, right? From the second version of the silver table I am going to take estimated earning per share, right? If it matches, then update the earning per share. If it does not matches, then simply update, right? So this is what we are going to do. Now if I run this particular statement, then again, right, this merge operation will happen and it will actually show me how many rows are updated. So the number of updated rows is 1, the number of affected rows is 4, and the inserted rows are 3. So now if I do select star, right, from this gold table, now the moment I did select star, you can actually see that the same stock symbol, right, which was updated in silver, right, now the same row basically is marked as update pre-image and update post-image as well. Now this is the average consensus, right? So you need to make sure, you need to understand that this is how, your change data feed and Medallion architecture works, right? You have to always remember that this change data feed is very helpful because it shows you, what rows are actually inserted, what rows are actually updated. You have this update pre-image, post-image thing, right? So you have all these details over here, which actually tells you that you can use different layers: silver, bronze, silver and gold, right? And you can only pass on the required changes to each level, because you have the commit version, you have the commit timestamp, you have the update type, whether it is an update, whether it is an insert, whether it is an delete. It will show you all. So this is how you can use Medallion architecture and change data feed. I will come up with one more video on change data feed after this one. So I hope you are liking these videos, and do remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel. So thank you so much for being till here.